Hello again, friends, and welcome to another fine season of The Haunting of KGGO.com. My name is B-sox. I'll be your host as we dive into the world of the paranormal during the Halloween season, as we have over the last couple years. All right, so as we kick off the month of October and we dive into the world of the paranormal, ladies and gentlemen, joining me here from the home studio over the, waves of the interwebs and such. Ladies and gentlemen, the guys from Cornfed Paranormal on the line, Eric, Tret, and Nick. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Hey.
Appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and thank you for being a part of the haunting this season. As we dive into it, we're kind of under the realm of the COVID restrictions and all that, so that's why we're trying to do this over the internet, over, believe it or not, Facebook's video thing. So we were dicking around with the quality a little bit ago, trying to get everything to work. So hopefully everything goes smooth today. Guys, as we do dive into this, welcome to the Haunting of KGGO.com. How you doing? Are you ready for the Halloween season?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's have you guys introduce yourselves. We'll start in the middle with Eric. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Eric.
My name's Eric Beck, and love investigating. Huge hobby of mine. Definitely have a huge passion for it. Kind of had some experiences younger, and I know we'll get into that at some point. Not sure
we will.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I love it. Definitely, like I say, you can tell fall's coming, and Halloween, definitely getting even more in the mood. We got an investigation coming up here in about a month, so we're ready to dive into that too.
All right, Eric, so who is on your left?
My name is Nick Krubsbeck. I'm from Austin, Minnesota, and same thing. I've always been interested in this kind of stuff, and somehow got hooked up with these two goons, and it's been an experience ever since. We've had some great times, and coming into October like we are, and it's that spooky season, everybody's looking forward to this, and we've got a couple things soon we're doing here, and it'll be interesting. A couple places we're going back to for the second time, and we're hoping to get some pretty good evidence.
Awesome. And then on the other side of you, Tret?
Yeah, I'm Tret Stromer. I live west of Des Moines, out by Stewart, Iowa, so I'm kind of in your neck of the woods, but yep, October is definitely spooky season, and so we got definitely a couple of investigations coming up here that we're excited about. For me, my story, I don't have an interesting story. I never
Awesome.
had any experiences as a child growing up or anything, so mine's kind of boring compared to Eric and Nick's, but I was just curious in the paranormal, and that's
Okay.
how I got started.
All right, well, let's start there. Cornfed Paranormal has been around for how long?
Since November 2019 is when we officially made our start together. We actually all three got together for a event with another paranormal group back in October of
2019.
October of 2018 or 19, excuse me.
So if you guys are spread out so much, how did it go from, hey, I really like the paranormal, to, hey, let's form a group and call it Cornfed Paranormal?
Yeah.
So we actually have a very detailed answer to that.
Oh gosh.
I guess for now, short answer, it was just the right thing to do for us. We kind of found, just amongst the three of us, we just decided it was best to kind of form our own group and go do our own thing. So
Were you guys a part of different groups before this, or
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So-
We were all fresh to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into that. How did you guys kind of get into the world of the paranormal, and how did it lead to Cornfed Paranormal in, would you say, November of 2019? I mean, was it one of those things you're sitting around having a beer and like, hey, let's form a paranormal group, or?
Well, I think it kind of started with me. Eric and I were friends through Facebook because we have a car club that we were in together with.
Okay.
And so he knew me, and I was already going to investigations because I was curious. I had another friend that got me into. We first went to a day tour at Villisca, and then she got me to go to around Halloween time, they advertise on Facebook, certain events coming up. And we seen there was an event coming up at Malvern Manor. So we went to that, and that's when I really started getting into the paranormal. I was really curious about it. I still was a skeptic. I still didn't really believe in it. And then we had another event come up in October of 2017. That was at Edinburgh Manor. And we went there with a group that we met at Malvern, Apex, Iowa. And we had a phenomenal night there. We had motion detectors go off. And anyway, Eric seen my post on Facebook about that, and then so he reached out to me after that.
Yeah, so I reached out to Tret when I kind of saw he was doing that. I had some experiences when I was younger that I guess have always kind of piqued my interest in the paranormal field. So I've always watched a lot of the TV shows as growing up. I always watched every different kind of show you can think of that was on about paranormal, but was never really, I guess, brave enough, I guess you could say, to really go try it. And I didn't really know anybody that did it either. So, that was another huge part of it. And then I saw Tret was getting into it, and I reached out to him, and he mentioned that a group called Apex Paranormal out of the Kansas City area had an event coming up, and he wanted to know if I wanted to join. And this was Beatty Mansion, location down in St. Joe, Missouri. It was an overnight investigation. I said, man, I don't know if I can do an overnight for my first investigation. That's
jumping in feet first.
Yeah, that's jumping all the way into it right away. So I pondered on it for a while, decided we'd do it. We got tickets, and then I was really nervous at that point, all the way leading up to this event in October of 2018, and I went. I had a crazy experience, which I'd love to tell whenever we have the time, as far as what really kind of solidified me in this field and why I have such a passion for it. A huge personal experience. And I had that event there. We went to another event the next year. I kind of reached out to friends that I knew, and I said, hey, if there's anybody else that's interested in getting into the paranormal field and wants to kind of learn about it, reach out to me. I'll take you with to an event we're going to go to. And that's when Nick reached out, so I'll let him tell his side there. Yeah,
so again, I was friends with Eric on Facebook, through our car group and stuff. We all had Pontiac GTOs. That's how we all got hooked up. And I had known Eric for a couple years, but I didn't know him super well. And I see that they were going to the Beatty Mansion, so I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, how was it? I've always wanted to do that. And I'd reached out to other groups in the past and asked if they had ever allowed guests on their investigations, and I was pretty much hit with a resounding no. They were not willing to do that, so I pretty much gave up on it for a couple of years, and then so this rolled around, and that's how I got involved, and it's history ever since.
See, that's kind of interesting because I've been asked to be a part of groups a few times, and like I've said in the past, I mean, just truth be told, I don't have time to dedicate it to that it deserves.
Sure.
So I kind of just drop in on groups, and I've never had an issue with anybody saying, oh no, we don't want you to come or anything. So that's surprising that nobody wanted you to come. That's kind of,
and maybe that's just the way that group was too. Maybe they were very closed group, and they just didn't like anybody outside coming in, and I don't know. I don't know what it was, but
very exclusive. Huh?
Yeah.
Nick didn't cut it, is what we're saying.
I guess not. I don't know what qualifications I needed to meet, but apparently I didn't meet them. So
the guys from Cornfed Paranormal on the line with me right now, talking about how their group kind of came together. We'll get into the scary stuff here in a little bit because it is the month of October, and that's what everybody wants to hear about. Eric, you were talking a little bit ago that this stuff kind of started young for you. What was the experience? Because, and I talk about this every year, but I always think people have different, there's like 3 reasons why people get into the paranormal. It's either they're just curious, something happened, or they've got friends and they're tag-alongs,
Yep.
What was it that happened to you as I'm assuming a kid, or was this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
what happened?
I was about, I don't know, in between the ages of 5 and 7 at my grandmother's house, and me being a kid wanted to go exploring in the house. So I went down in the basement. All the lights were off, just kind of like looking around, snooping around, just being a kid. And I remember kind of moving like a rack of clothes, kind of spreading them apart. And I couldn't see any facial features, but I saw a person, full body apparition, standing in front of me, and it reached out to me like as to like touch me or grab me. And I just remember I froze, and I just screamed at the top of my lungs. And I was just frozen there in time for, I don't know, it felt like forever. It was probably only a few seconds or so. And then I kind of came out of it and ran upstairs. And I remember seeing my aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff. And I'm like, somebody was in the basement. Somebody was trying to scare me. And they're like, nobody was down there. There was nobody down there. I'm like, no, somebody was definitely down there, because they reached out to try and grab me. And it scared me crapless, you know. And so it was kind of that moment. And I'd never really told anybody this story for the majority of my life. I kind of mentioned it to my dad. My dad was there that day. I kind of told him this story, and then I told my wife, you know, several years later. And then on our way down for my first event, which kind of leads into this next big experience I had that really kind of entangled me in this field. For my first event at Beatty, I went with Tret, and I was actually telling Tret this story on the way down. So there's only 3 people in my entire life that I told this story to, this experience that I had when I was younger. And Apex Paranormal was going to have their medium there, Allie Westrick, absolutely phenomenal person, human being inside and out. What she does is absolutely amazing. Absolutely. And so we walk into the door to Beatty Mansion, and the first thing we were super excited to meet her, just because we kind of seen things that she's done, kind of seen her work. And so we go in, we introduce ourselves. I had a guardian angel necklace my wife got me when I was in Afghanistan. I served in the military in Afghanistan, and I had a guardian angel necklace that I carried. So I just asked her, you know, me being new to this field and doing investigations, I said, hey, I have this guardian angel necklace with me. Will this protect me from anything, you know, that might want to come home with me or anything like that? And she kind of took it, held it, kind of closed her eyes. Well, she mentioned it, had it ever been blessed? And I was like, no. She looked like maybe she was going to bless it. I had no idea. Had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what was going on. And she just kind of closed her eyes, and then she told me that I had a guardian angel at that point. And she went into this series of statements that she told me, and how my guardian angel was communicating with her, and it turned out to be one of the Marines that I unfortunately lost while I was in Afghanistan. And just some of the things that she mentioned, and that she knew, there's just no way that she could have known. So then to kind of top this off, after this whole thing went down with my guardian angel, then she said, you've had an experience before when you were a little kid. And she said, you were about the age of 6 or 7 when this happened. She said you were in your grandmother's basement. And she said you saw a full body apparition, and it was your grandfather reaching out to you, because my grandfather had passed before I was born. I never got a chance to meet him. And she just went on to tell me that it was my grandfather that was reaching out to me, and he wanted to tell me sorry, that he didn't mean to scare me back then, that he just wanted to meet me, because he never got a chance to meet me. So
you say that, and I had a similar experience with our kid Jace when he was a baby. He woke up one night, and like, he would wake up crying sometimes, but this night he woke up and he was terrified, and he kept looking over in the corner. And one of my buddies that is into this stuff, he goes, I think it was just one of your relatives stopping by to say hi, and they spooked him on accident. So no, I could completely get it. Eric, Tret, and Nick from Cornfed Paranormal on the line with me. So the medium got it right for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, if there's one thing in the paranormal field that I've ever been skeptic about, it would be mediums and their ability. I definitely feel that people have those abilities, but I also feel like, you know, there could be people that are maybe in it for the wrong reasons or whatever it may be. So I've just kind of always been a skeptic of that, and this whole thing transpired. I didn't ask for any of this. It just happened basically as soon as I walked through the door. And I'm definitely a firm believer of things happening for a reason. I definitely think that this had a lot to do with the reason why it just happened to come out that I went to this place for my first investigation, and all of this whole thing transpired, and it really consumed me. It was huge for me. It was a huge breakthrough for me as a person, and that's kind of why I'm so attached to this field and what we do, and why I love it so much.
And that's some of the best evidence I've seen, watching her tell Eric stuff that she shouldn't have known.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing.
I got you.
My mind was blown.
Tret, I know you said you didn't have, you were just curious in this stuff, growing up and stuff. Nick, we'll get to you in a second. Don't worry. I see you sitting over there bored.
Yeah.
So. He's like, I've heard Eric's story a million times, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm always the last. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, okay, Tret, hold on a second. Okay, we're gonna go to Nick so he doesn't get mad. Nick, what was it for you growing up? Was it an experience? Was it curiosity? Was it fell into it?
I would say it's mainly curiosity. I did have a few experiences growing up. Nothing like what Eric had. I guess the biggest experience I would have had when I was a kid is my grandpa was in the hospital. He was having surgery for his heart, I believe, and they were dairy farmers, and which is what I also grew up as too, as a dairy farmer. And I was up staying at my grandparents' house, helping with chores and that stuff. And I'd always heard stories about their house and some of the stuff that they've seen or heard there, and it just never was quite right. And so that always kind of intrigued me. And I was staying overnight, and I remember sleeping in this one bedroom, and I remember waking up and with just this immense pressure on my chest, and it just felt like something was shoving me down into the bed, and like I don't know what it was, if it was sleep paralysis or what it was, but I couldn't get away. I couldn't say anything. My eyes were open. I could see what was going on in the room, but I couldn't move. I couldn't say anything, nothing like that. And that was probably the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me as a kid. And I had told my uncle about this the next day. I'm like, hey, this happened. And he told me that this also happened to him a couple nights before that too. So that's probably the biggest experiences I had as a kid. And it's kind of funny because that's happened to me twice now in my lifetime. And the only other place that's happened to me was in another haunted location.
Huh.
So it's coincidence. It's a hell of a coincidence if that. But the fact that would only happen in places that are thought to be haunted.
Let me ask you this. When you could see it around the room when you're under the sleep paralysis, did it look like TV fuzz, like static?
Actually, it was surprisingly clear.
Really?
Like, I could see it was vivid, like super vivid. I could see everything in the room just as if I was completely awake.
Huh.
I could have swore, and I can't remember for sure. I could have swore that I saw the curtains moving when this was all going on. But again, I don't know. I can't say for 100% positive.
I got you.
But that was a crazy experience for sure.
All right, let's go over to Tret. You said you were just curious. So were you the weird kid that liked ghosts and stuff growing up?
No, I didn't believe it. I was the biggest skeptic. I was like, yeah, ghost, whatever. I had no experiences growing up as a child or anything paranormal experience. So yeah, I just didn't believe it. I was like, so I had a friend that said, well, if you don't believe it, you shouldn't be scared, right? So, well, yeah, I guess that's right. There's nothing to be scared of if I don't believe in the paranormal. So she talked me into doing the day tour at Villisca. And then, I met Johnny Hauser there, and he was just a wealth of information about Villisca. He knew every piece of article and history about the place. And so that just perked my interest up just to know the history of the place. And then so that kind of got me going. And then we seen an advertisement on Facebook saying there's an investigation for Malvern Manor. So that was my second investigation. And that's where I met Apex Paranormal in Apex, Iowa.
Okay.
And then I just kept in contact with Apex Paranormal in Apex, Iowa. And then Apex, Iowa had an event coming up at Edinburgh. And so me and my friend went there, and then that's when I really started believing. I started seeing the evidence, the unexplained, what the motion detector went off right in front of us on command. Some EVPs that we listened to later on in the night. So it was just undeniable after that, and after that, I was a believer.
The guys from Cornfed Paranormal joining me on the haunting of KGGO.com. Eric, Tret, and Nick here. We'll have all their information at the bottom of the page. Guys, as we make our way through, let's jump to once you guys started investigating and so on and so forth. 2019, that kind of leads into 2020, which, was kind of a lost year for everybody. But once you guys got together as a group, what was the first investigation you went on?
So our first investigation was Farrar Schoolhouse in Farrar, Iowa. That would have been November 2019.
Did you meet Will?
No, we actually didn't. It wasn't until we went back there for the second time, right? Second or third time.
That big, tall giant of a man.
Yeah. Yes.
So when you went up to Farrar, your new group, did you have your T-shirts already?
No.
We didn't have any.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we
hardly any equipment.
We didn't even have our logo made yet. I was actually waiting. My wife designed it. We were still waiting on that. It was just after we spent the night there, we made our official announcement for us being a group. So
when
I
you
think
went,
our equipment was pretty minimal at that time. Maybe we had recorders and some flashlights. That might have been about it.
Okay, so when you went into that investigation, what were you by yourself, or were there any other groups with you, or
just the three of us?
Just three of you? So what was that first night like? I mean, was it the library scene from Ghostbusters, or
It was very scarce for sure. We didn't really want to split up too much.
For us being new, we were still quite scared yet. We were pretty timid at that point yet.
So
I mean, our real kind of first investigation we went to, we weren't a group yet, would have been Bingham Wagner. It was an event put on by Apex Paranormal as well. And then we actually went and stayed the night at Beatty, and that was that night. We only actually spent probably a few hours there, and we ended up leaving because of the activity. It was, and I think that was kind of what led to Farrar, us being so scared to kind of split off or do anything by ourselves, because Beatty had us on edge.
Yeah, we were hot off the heels of Beatty. And
tell us about Beatty then. Where's Beatty, and what's the story with it?
So Beatty Mansion's in St. Joe, Missouri. It's also called the House on the Hill. It was built back in the early 1900s by Beatty Armstrong and Beatty and Eliza Armstrong. And it kind of went through a few things through the years after Beatty or Armstrong and Eliza had passed away. What was the first thing that it turned into after that?
It's like an old folks home, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I know at one point it was an old folks home. Then somebody later on purchased it and planned on turning it into a bed and breakfast. And then a lot of things started happening while they were trying to do renovations, and kind of ran all the construction workers out. And now it just kind of sits and is there for the paranormal field. So
why is
Armstrong and Beatty died of cholera.
Okay.
And back in the day, cholera had the same symptoms as strychnine poisoning. So they're thinking maybe his wife killed him with strychnine and blamed it on cholera. Arsenic. That's what it was.
Huh.
And then Armstrong Beatty's body sat in state in the Beatty Mansion like 3-4 days. And
so when you guys went there, what was the activity that you had? What was it that made three grown men wet themselves?
So Apex also had an event at this location that night. By the time we got there, because it was like 2 a.m. when Bingham Wagner got over, and it took us about an hour to drive over there. So it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning by the time we got there. Everybody was asleep in one consolidated area, and we were like, we're going to investigate this joint.
And we had talked to the person that was putting it on, and they're like, the group really didn't get a whole lot tonight. It was pretty quiet for the most part. We got a few things, but nothing, fantastic anyway. And so we're like, all right, we'll give it a shot, And then we walked upstairs, and that's when all hell broke loose.
Yeah, we started on the first floor. We went to the opposite side of where everybody was sleeping. And we just kind of sat and listened. We kind of did like what everybody kind of calls dead time at a location. And we just sat and we listened, and we could just hear footsteps back and forth upstairs,
Constant.
just constant footsteps. And there was nobody up there. Everybody that was there was sleeping. And so we're like, all right, let's move upstairs. And you could just feel the energy ramp up hardcore. As the closer you get to the top of those stairs, you could just feel it was like a wall.
The hair on your arm standing up. And
I still to this day, I don't think I've ever felt the kind of energy and intensity that location gave off that night when we were there. We finally got the courage enough to finally get to the top and then start walking around upstairs. And we got some of our best EVPs just walking around up there while we were just kind of going room to room. And then kind of to end that night, Nick, we were in a room, all three of us are kind of standing in a circle. We heard footsteps coming down the hallway towards us. Then you could hear it kind of come into the room, and then it just got silent for about 30 seconds.
it got cold.
Yep, and got really cold, and then Nick actually had his ear whispered into. I kind of let him tell what that was like.
Like Eric was saying, we could hear these footsteps coming down the hallway towards us. We're just sitting there like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is definitely walking towards us. And you could hear it come in the room. And we were all sitting there. We got recorders in our hands, and sitting around in a circle. And I felt like this cold brush on my hand, the front of my hand here. So I'm just naturally, I'm like, all right, who is this? Like, who just walked in front of me? Who are you? And like, not 2 seconds after that, I just had this whisper in my ear. It's like, and I just freaked out. Like, it was like a breath whisper is what it was, and I absolutely freaked out.
And we all ran.
We got to get out of here. I'm not cool with this. We got to go. So we were running down the stairs as fast as we possibly could. Whatever it was, definitely followed us down the stairs though, because we got a very, very good EVP while we were running down the stairs.
Vulgar EVP.
Very nasty,
EVP.
Yeah, nasty EVP.
Go ahead and say it. I'll bleep it.
Okay. Well, as we were running down the stairs, this whatever it was, we're marching down the stairs, real loud, and all of a sudden you just hear this you, and it's just this like the most breathy whisper. It was weird.
Very, very, very creepy.
Clear. Yeah.
And before that, when we were kind of in these other rooms, I had another EVP, which was the same kind of breathy voice. And on the recorder, you can hear me say, it feels really heavy up here. And then you get this really creepy EVP in the background. It goes, yeah, like that over the recorder.
Oh, weird.
And just, so intense. And we run down, we go in the kitchen where we planned on sleeping, and we're just kind of talking about it. And I caught another EVP. I'm asking Nick, I'm like, all right, are you okay? Like, are you all right? And then you hear this female voice come over the recorder, and it said, somebody touched me. Just like that, like right after I asked Nick if he was okay, I was like, are you all right? Are you okay? And just this female voice comes in. There was no female in that kitchen with us.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just absolutely unbelievable the EVPs that we captured that night and the feeling. I think we've been to about 13 locations total now, and I've never felt the intensity that we felt that night.
Where was that again?
Beatty Mansion.
How do you spell that?
Oh,
Beattie.
Okay, Beatty. Okay.
Yep.
And that was in St. Joe, Missouri, huh?
Yep.
All right. Around Iowa, what's been the most haunted location, or maybe not even the most haunted, but the best evidence you guys got?
I'd say Edinburgh, Malvern Manor. We got great evidence from.
Yeah, I would say Edinburgh and Malvern Manor are probably the top two in Iowa that we been to.
Was there a moment at either of those places that had you pretty scared, pretty frightful, or?
Oh yeah. This last time at Edinburgh Manor was pretty interesting. We fully believe we came up against something that was not nice and that had very evil intentions, and we weren't really prepared for that. We'd heard some things, from another group that had experienced this stuff a couple weeks, or was it the week prior to that?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they had, and so we figured whatever, we'll give it a shot, and yeah, it was an experience to say the least.
Okay, so what was the experience then?
We were the night was pretty quiet for the most part. We were getting a lot of activity on. We've got this device called a ghost box, and what it basically is, I don't know if you know what a spirit box is. It's like It scans through radio frequencies like in reverse and stuff. This is like a modified version of that, only the voices come through more clear. You have a lot less static, and it's more reliable in our experience.
Okay.
So we were running this kind of around the location, and we were getting a lot of names come through that were names of this other group that were there the week prior, which one of the guys' names is Nick, which is also my name. So that was naturally kind of creepy. We didn't know if it was talking about me or if it was talking about him. We did get Nick on an EVP. Yes. One of our guests had that. We all audibly heard it too. Anyway, so kind of fast forward through the night, we were in this room. It's is this the women's wing, correct?
Yeah.
On the first floor.
Yep.
And they call this room the rape room. We don't know what exactly happened in there or if it did, but that's what everyone says. We started getting some kind of darker responses come through the ghost box, and we're kind of trying to figure out what this is and trying to clarify a little bit, and it just kept firing back with like, it almost felt like it was proud of what happened in that room and what it did, or what, like I said, what happened. I just remember just feeling extremely angry all of a sudden. Like I was going to go punch somebody or a wall or something. Like, and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a violent guy. Yeah, probably him. I mean, I think he was closest to me, so it probably would have been. But no, and we just kept getting these, really dark responses. And then one of our guests, she felt like she was being grabbed. She was laying in one of the beds, and she's like, I got to get out of here, And
yeah, she actually ran out of the building.
Yeah, yep.
She had to get some air for a couple minutes.
And this was shortly before that had happened. I had felt this burning sensation on my back as I was laying in another bed and just kind of sprawled out, whatever. I felt this burning on the back of right above my butt on my back, and I lifted my shirt up, and sure enough, I had 3 scratch marks on there.
Okay.
And that was the first time I've ever been physically marked from what I can remember. And after that, we kind of, all right, we're going to take a break. We're going to walk outside. We're going to, cool off and get whatever this is. We're going to give it a fresh start. So we ended up going back in, and towards the end of the night, we did an SD session, which, if you aren't familiar with an SD session, one person sits with headphones on and their blindfold on, and they listen to the spirit box, and another person in another room asks questions, and the person has the headphones on answers whatever comes through the box. You don't know what they're at. The other person's asking for questions. You can't hear them. You can't see them. You're in a totally separate room. They were asking some questions. I still don't know what they were asking, but about the middle of that, we had a very, very clear voice. It was a woman's voice came through, and it said demon. And I didn't want to say what I thought I just heard, so I didn't even, because naturally when you hear these responses, you just shout them out loud what you heard. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even want to say what I just heard. So these guys had no idea what I had heard until we got done, and they asked me, like, what did you hear? And I'm like, this is what I heard. So we fully believe that what we were dealing with was something that was...
And you were hearing a lot of, like, get out.
Yeah, a lot of get outs, a lot of leaves and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was creepy for sure.
The only thing those sessions are interesting to me, but I always want somebody to record what's coming out of the box, what the person's hearing. And I want to see somebody like sync up the audio.
Yep.
So that you can go back and you can hear exactly what they heard and when they heard. I always say that's always one that I'm like, why is nobody recording that part of it?
Yeah. Yep.
So.
And we need to get better about that too. We've done it a few times, but this last one obviously wasn't recorded, and it turned out to be one of our best SD sessions ever.
Sometimes we'll go on Facebook Live while we do it.
It's too bad it wasn't recorded.
In all of this, how many investigations have you guys done? Has it been all places like Edinburgh or Villisca where it's kind of open to the public? Have you done many private residences or anything like that?
So no private residences, but we did find a location in Wisconsin. Actually, I just happened to be kind of on a little mini vacation with my family. Went to this place for a brunch on Sunday morning. Very, very old place, was built in the 1800s. Used to be an old feed mill, and I just kind of got the vibes from this location. So I just happened to ask my waitress. I was like, hey, have you guys ever had anybody investigate here? And she's like, no, not that I'm really aware of. And I'm like, well, if you guys would be open to it, I got a group and we'd love to come investigate. Ended up working out. We emailed, talked with the owner. We've actually been there twice now, I believe. So,
did you get did you get any evidence from the place, or?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yep.
What'd you get?
Very. So I'll let Tret tell the story of our most recent adventure there.
The mill is definitely one of my favorite places. It's got a lot of underground railroad history to it. Still got remnants of the tunnels where they hid the slaves back in the day. It's just a cool place. They had a head-on train collision right next to the mill, so they got articles about that. It's just a cool place, But yeah, so we were getting some activity upstairs. Like upstairs is you got like big dining room on the right side, then a hallway with an elevator and a staircase, and then another big dining room on the other side. So we went up there because we were hearing stuff up there. So we decided to go up there. We set a motion detector up like on the right side in the big dining room, and then we went over to the left side of the dining room and sat and just kind of looked down that hallway because we could see down the hallway into that room, and we just kind of sat there and just listened. And then we were just talking amongst ourselves, and all of a sudden the elevator in the hallway opens up. We are all have our mouths dropped. We were looking around like, did somebody leave and go downstairs and come back up? I mean, the elevator just don't open up. Someone's got to call. Someone's got to push the button for the elevator to come up and open. But as soon as that elevator opened up, we're all like freaking out. And then it's like whatever was in that elevator walked into that far dining room, and then the motion detector went off.
Oh,
and one of our guests was screaming. It was crazy. Yeah, we were just in awe about it. That was probably one of our best visual evidences that we've seen.
Yeah, personal experience. We took Apex, Iowa with us up there that time as well, so they were able to experience that. So yeah.
This is the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. We're with the guys from Cornfed Paranormal. As we're diving into the world of the paranormal, we've talked about a lot of places, and I want each of you to answer this. Has there been a place that you've just been flat out uncomfortable in that you walk in, you got the heebie-jeebies, that you're thinking to yourself, is this really a good idea that we're here? Have you guys had that experience?
For me, Beatty has definitely been one of those places. Beatty Mansion. I would also say Edinburgh Manor. Definitely has given the basement more than anything has just given me the heebie-jeebies. I've always been attracted to the basement specifically at Edinburgh, though. Even though I'm very uneasy about it, I've just been very attracted to it as well. So for me, that's it.
Real quick about Edinburgh, I'm surprised we haven't seen more ghost shows about Edinburgh. The amount of people that are going there and the stories that are coming out of it, like I'm legitimately surprised. That and Malvern. I'm surprised that we're not seeing more show. Like
Destination Fear was just there, and I know Ghost Adventures have been to Edinburgh, and
I mean real shows.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
So, all right. So, Beatty House for you, Nick. How about you?
Definitely Beatty. After the experiences we had at Beatty, it's hard to beat. The second, I guess I would say, was probably the upstairs of Villisca, but that's only when we were by ourselves or with just two people.
Okay.
That place has a habit of singling people out.
Okay. All right. Tret?
Yeah, the creepiest would probably be, a Villisca or a Beatty Mansion for me, too. None of the places we've been to don't creep me out bad that I wouldn't go back. The places that do creep me out is like the Sally House or the Monroe House. Any places like demonic, places like that, I have no desire to go to. Or so that's why we haven't been there.
I talked to, I forget who it was, but they were telling me about the Sally House, and they said the Sally House isn't haunted anymore. That whatever was there has gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard different stories. And
I forget who told me, but they were like, yeah, it's not haunted anymore. It's not worth it. And also, I think it was Riverside told me it was a witch that was haunting the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. Who knows?
But either
I know
way,
they had like a pentagram in the basement, and they're doing some seance type stuff in there, and so I'm sure there's some dark stuff that's been opened up in that house.
well, you bring up that the darker side of things. Is there places that you guys won't go because of that sort of thing? Like, if you had an all expense paid trip to the Sally house, would you take it?
I probably would. I'd probably regret it, but
I don't think I'd sleep at that location. I would,
We've actually had these conversations on, like, and Sally House has been brought up quite a bit amongst us if we would actually go or would we not go, and it's really just kind of been a mixed bag between the three of us. I don't know that I guess I would probably go. My wife, she would say absolutely not. You're not going. I don't know. I'm always somebody who would at least experience something once, I guess.
So the Sally house, for whatever reason, is the place that you guys are a no-go.
Yeah, we're kind of avoiding it, putting it on the back burner for now.
Little does Trent know that's where we're going next.
Yeah.
As we do start to get to the end of this, what is next for you guys? What's going to go on with the group? Are you going on more investigations? Is it growing it? What's next?
Yeah, so we've got Malvern Manor coming up. We'll be going there for our third time now, I believe.
Day after Thanksgiving.
Yep, Malvern.
Oh,
Pretty
going on
excited for
Black
that.
Friday, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Do a little Black Friday shopping at Malvern.
yeah. Yep. Shopping for some ghosts.
Is it a matter, like I said, so you're going to Malvern, but are you growing the group? Are you looking to get into more of the private investigations? Are you looking to what's kind of the goal for the group when we come back to Cornfed?
We had our first event here. That was actually the last investigation we did. Was at Edinburgh. So for us personally, I guess our biggest thing is just trying to get more people involved in the paranormal. We're not looking to get famous or anything like that. We're in it for our personal experiences, and that's the way we intend on keeping it. And then, like I say, just getting more people involved in the paranormal field, because the only way that we're ever going to get more answers and figure things out is by getting more people involved. And I definitely think that the paranormal field is being more accepted in today's world. So we're always encouraging more people to get involved. We want first-timers to come with us to locations and experience it for themselves.
What do you think you could teach a different group?
Just different tactics, I guess, just different ways to investigate. I guess now that you touch on that point, that's a good thing. Another thing that we like to do is collaborate with other groups, because not only can they possibly learn from us, but we can also learn a lot from them, just different tactics on how to communicate with the other side and some of the best ways to go about it. You just kind of take things from different people.
Oh, we went to an event with the Ghost Hunters crew, Brian and Rochelle, Brian Murray, Rochelle Stratton. We went to an event with them at Malvern Manor, and we learned a lot from them. Brian was like, these spirits that lived here, they were once human. They were once, you have to come in and treat them with respect. You don't want to just come in and barge into everybody's bedrooms and start investigating bedrooms and stuff. He gave us some good ideas, like setting stuff in front of doorways. You probably shouldn't do that right away. You don't want them. You want to have free access to doorways and stuff. So we learned a lot of different tips and tricks from different groups that we've investigated with.
What's the single best tool a ghost hunter should have in their kit?
Recorder.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
Audio or visual? Or either?
Audio.
Audio?
Yeah, EVPs are one of our best evidences, I think.
I would say second to that would be those little spirit balls that we have, and they're essentially cat toys, is what they are. They light up all kinds of colors and stuff, but that has been one of our best pieces of evidence or equipment, because there's no way to make that go off unless it's manipulated by something. So, and for how cheap they are, I think you can buy 3 of them for $11. So that's probably, besides the recorders, those are probably the best piece of evidence.
What's the worst piece of equipment somebody puts too much faith in?
This may be unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say video recorders.
Really?
We've been with groups that set them up, I mean, for one, there's a lot of money wrapped up in video cameras, obviously. And then, you have a lot of time running cords and everything, setting them up in different rooms. And there's a pretty slight chance that you're going to catch something on camera. And so for us, it's just we're able to go. We don't have to spend any time setting up recorders or anything, or like video recorders. We can just go and have the personal experiences.
An SLS camera, I'm not sure about the validity of that.
I would say the Ouija board apps that people have on their phones.
I think any app anybody has on their phone is worthless.
Yeah.
Yep. 9 times out of 10, it's.
Nick,
I should say 9.9%.
Okay. Yeah, let's get it right here. Let's get it right.
Yeah.
All right, the guys from Cornfed Paranormal on the line with me right now as we celebrate the month of October. Guys, I think that's going to about wrap it up today. We thank you so much for it, okay?
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We'll have all your guys' info at the bottom of the page. If people do want to get a hold of you, like say they've got something weird in their house, are you open to going out and seeing it, or?
Yes, absolutely. The best thing to do is just to send us a message on Facebook. We also have our email linked to our Facebook account as well.
Okay.
And just reach out to us, kind of give us your story, and we'll kind of go through. We have some questions that we'd like to ask and kind of go from there. So.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. If somebody does think they have a haunting in their house, what do you think is the first thing they should do?
Have a book that
keep a log.
Keep a log of what's going on there.
And I know you guys are a good group now. I that's the first thing every good group always says is a journal or a log, and tell us, mark down when things are happening and whatever.
Yep.
I think my 6-year-old is about to come through the ceiling, so. Cornfed Paranormal on the line. We'll have the information at the bottom of the page. This is the haunting of KGGO.com. Guys, Nick, Tret, and Eric, thank you so much. We'll have your info, and good luck this Halloween season, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you.